Hey everyone, glad to have you guys here today. I'm excited to be sharing with you guys why I have the investing strategy that I do, so stick around to find out. Hey everyone, so let's just jump straight into it. If you guys have seen any of my videos, you probably know that I am looking for companies that are currently mispriced. They are currently undervalued by a significant amount just because they're currently out of favor, whatever that might mean, whatever, if they're an energy stock, whatever commodity they have has been down in price or severely beaten up, the industry that they're in has a negative outlook, or whatever that might be, because that presents opportunities to buy companies for pennies on the dollar. So that's everything that I really strive to do in investing, and I thought it might be valuable as to share why. First off, why pick this method over others, specifically over other things, whether you're looking at trying to swing trade, trying to day trade, picking growth companies, going into IPOs, or anything like that. The reason that I follow this method is for none other than Warren and Charlie. I think that they have set the absolute standard for what a long-term strategy is and why it works in every market condition. They have decades and decades of experiences under their belts to show us that this is a long-term durable strategy. Whereas there are many others that I think we know of that have had their flings where they've done really, really well for a few years. They picked one thing right, they timed the crash, whatever it might be, and they had their one shining moment, but then they kind of fell away. But that never happened with Warren and Charlie. They continued their steady march all the way to becoming the pretty obvious goats of investing, in my opinion. I think and would hope that $120 billion to Warren's name speaks for itself. That's why I picked the strategy that I have right now. And I also wanted to highlight why specifically in the stock market. There are many ways to trade things or invest in things that you can consider undervalued, whether you're talking about cryptocurrencies, whether you're talking about collectible items, whether you're talking about pre-IPO investing in startups, or really anything else that you can think of. When you're investing that way, there's a really specific reason why I like to actually invest in the public market. And that comes down to one thing that I think gives you the opportunity to make a lot of money without having to take on the same amount of risk as in other areas. I want to give you an example. Let's say you're really wanting to invest in a new tech company that you see really revolutionizing an industry. They aren't public yet. You know they're just kind of getting up off the ground, getting things going, starting to make a little bit of money, and you want to go in and invest. So you're going to probably have to kind of negotiate and say, this is what I think your company is worth and going to be worth, and I want an appropriate share of that, right? There's a lot of negotiating and things that's going to go into that, and you're going to have to come up with a fair value and say, hey, we got to invest around this value right here. When you go into the stock market, things often swing from incredibly high to incredibly low. And that gives you the opportunity to say, invest in that same company, maybe a few years down the road after they've proven themselves to be profitable and it is a groundbreaking idea. Maybe they come out and there's some worries about their competition and that they're not going to keep up. And so you've got a company where maybe you have someone that has really great experience. They have proven track record, but there's worries. So now if you were to go to them and say, I want to purchase your company after it's fallen 50%, they might laugh you out the door, but you can go to the public market and buy the company for, in this hypothetical situation, 50% off. And I think that's what gives this its edge, that you're able to go and capitalize on the emotional swings as people go from exuberance to despair, and you get to ride kind of those waves. Now, it's certainly not for the faint of heart in buying things that everyone is looking at and throwing away, but it provides incredible opportunity to buy things for pennies on the dollar. I think that there are a lot of companies out there that are well undervalued. And if you were to try and go and offer them the current price that the market says they're worth, they would laugh you out the door. And I think that's a good thing. You want to look for those companies that are in those situations. So this gives you guys an idea of why I do what I do. I think there are other areas I mentioned, like collectibles, cryptocurrencies, whatever method you're having. Those are areas where it's very, very difficult to actually determine their value because it's so tied to the current feelings around that, right? There might be collectibles and things that are really highly valued, but we have no way of really telling if they're going to be in demand 10 years from now, or if the demand's going to fall off, or whatever it might be. Same kind of thing with cryptocurrency. It's very hard for me to determine what is a fair value. Whereas when you're looking at a company, especially one that's already IPO'd, you have a history of financials to say, hey, how did this company perform during COVID? How did they perform during 2008? How did they perform during the tech bubble? All these kind of things, and you can say, I know this is a durable company. They have a proven track record, but for whatever reason right now, people hate them. And they're trading for 20 cents on the dollar. And I can go out and buy them for that. So take what you guys will from this. This is my philosophy on why I do this. And I've compiled this from doing a lot of research and frankly, taking from people that came before me and learning from their mistakes, which hopefully you guys get to do a little bit as well. Don't make them all yourself. Learn from other people and build a base from there. There are still plenty more mistakes to be made.